I'm Brooke Copp-Barton. I'm an interior designer and welcome to my home.
How did you get into interior design?
I have been an interior designer for probably nearly 10 years now. I worked in marketing for about 20 years and then always had a passion for interiors. I like having beautiful things around me. I like the feel that you get when you walk into a colourful space, and I think I always felt that this was something that I wanted to pursue.
What design rules do you love to break?
I think maybe symmetry might be one that I think there's certainly a place for symmetry, but I quite like places that are a bit more messed up. For me, the kind of balance comes in the imbalance. So I like seeing things slightly off kilter. It just feels a bit more real to me.
What's a styling idea you refuse to do no matter how popular it gets?
I don't know if I really look at what's popular and what's not popular. I don't tend to look at trends. I prefer to look at what I like, what clients like, and if they really want something that they've seen in a magazine and they've got their heart set on it, then I'll work with that.
What's the story behind your boldest design decision?
I think the difficult decisions are the ones that you can't easily change. So it's things like floor, for example, or it's, things that are plumbed in or wired in, things that once you've made that decision, you're not going to change it. So I suppose perhaps one of my boldest decisions was to go with a kind of ready pinky terrazzo floor kitchen of a project, which I think was certainly bold. I saw these tiles and completely fell in love with them. I remember seeing the floor after it was in and there was nothing else in this kitchen, and I remember thinking, A, I thought it was amazing, I thought it was brilliant, but B, I thought, God, I'm glad it's worked.
What's the easiest way to make a space less ordinary?
I like things to not necessarily look perfect, which is I think why I love vintage pieces so much, because I like that kind of the idea that things have been gathered over time, that it's not a show home, it is a home that is lived in, that it's loved, that it's bashed around a bit by kids and, families and people enjoying themselves, and, it's not pristine and it doesn't have to always be, perfect. So I like homes that have lots of love and lots of life and lots of variety, and I think that's what makes a home not ordinary.
What's your favourite room in your own home?
Possibly the living area, actually, because it is warm and cosy and it's kind of where we go to relax. It's filled with the colours that I love, so that makes me happy. I also like the kitchen because I like the light and I like being able to see outside. I think windows are really important, and natural light, and being able to see beyond the room that you're in.
How do you want people to feel about your designs?
I want people to feel happy. I want them to feel they're in a space that they love. I want them to feel that it's warm and cozy and it's them. I feel our job is to try and eke out what clients want from their space and to try and bring that to fruition.
Do you remember the first vintage item that you ever fell for?
Oh gosh, no. There have been too many. I think I've always collected things or tried to reuse things.
Do you have a favourite vintage item in your home at the moment?
I love my Halibala chairs. I love my vintage rug. I love the standard lamp. Yeah, I like them all really. I have some items that are kind of quite practical. In the office, we have vintage units for my samples, and and I quite like that it's all open plan and I can just grab things, and it might look a bit messy, and I've tidied up for today, but it does usually look quite messy. I like that it's quite usable.
Do you have a piece of advice for designing a space?
I think go with your gut, go with your feeling for it, and I think somebody once said to me was, there are so many choices when it comes to designing a space. All the Pinterest images and Instagram, and there's so much content. You have to narrow it down, and just be quite ruthless. I remember when I was studying, a tutor said to me, just make your decision and then move on to the next, because there's going to be another decision that comes up. Sometimes you make one decision and then build everything around that.
What's the most common mistake people make when choosing furniture?
I think it can be difficult to choose furniture if you don't know the dimensions and the size of the space. I like to plan the layout of a space so I know exactly what's going to fit. You've got to sometimes think of the practicalities. Well, you do have to think of the practicalities as well as the aesthetics, and it can be difficult. You've just got to do a bit of homework before you go buying.
What's your biggest interior ick?
Probably short curtains that don't go to the floor.
Can you think of a piece of furniture you can never go wrong with?
I like vintage textiles on walls because it just adds another dimension, and I think it can be unexpected, and it can be a relatively cost-effective way of covering a large wall.
Open plan or cozy rooms?
Cozy.
Maximalist or minimalist?
Maximalist.
Monochrome or mixed palette?
Mixed palette.
Wallpaper or paint?
Oh, both, but probably wallpaper.
Spots or stripes?
Oh, again, both, probably stripes.
Vintage or antique?
Both.
Best piece to splurge on?
Artwork.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Vintage market or designer showroom?
Vintage market.